Hello, everyone. This is the Painted Town Red podcast. I'm your host, Chance Bowen, and today is Monday. And let's see what the news is giving us. U.S. government shutdown looms. Congress is racing towards the September 30th deadline without an agreement on a stopgap spending bill. The Senate rejected a GOP version largely because Democrats demanded more spending on health care, including Medicaid and ACA subsidies. Democrats led by Schumer and Jeffries are pushing for a direct meeting with President Trump as the deadline approaches. Let's see what we have here for that. And it's gonna be the typical political stuff that they do. As you know, Democrats want to expand the welfare state or maintain the welfare state, want to expand the military state. And that's what they're doing in this big, beautiful bill. Of course, does not cut our spending, furthers our debt load, and pretty much furthers they'll use it, it'll make inflation worse later on. Of course, as you know, as conservatives, right, we try to push policies that will lower the spending, but in the big beautiful bill has not really done that. Let's see here. So I seen an interview with some of the Senate Republicans, and they're saying, why would the Democrats do this? This is like not the correct time to be complaining about the bill, blah, blah, blah. And them not passing the short-term bill it's just inappropriate. But they did the exact same thing during Obama's term. And this was actually brought up to them by one of the reporters who was asking questions, and it was pretty funny. So if you guys want to watch that, you could it's the Senate Republicans' rebuttal to the Democrats not refusing their proposal, their short-term bill. And let's see here. So I'll just kind of go into a little bit, like explaining to you guys kind of what's going on as far as what happens is what our politicians do during the spending bill, during approving a spending bill. The Republicans, when they run the House, they want to do what Trump wants to do, right? So they write up this bill, and it's going to include a lot of things for different companies that are going to be taking care of the needs that our country needs, like the military complex. So then the military complex then goes and hires lobbyists to go and lobby our politicians to make sure that their company is in that bill or that need is in the bill, and then they get the contract from the government. And this is kind of how our whole system works. And on the Democrat side, all of their companies that pretty much benefit their campaigns and get them elected, they also hire lobbyists to go and lobby for their given thing that they're doing. And so that's why we have, when the Democrats get in, expanded welfare state. When the Republicans get in, expanded military state. And there's cross lobbying that they do. There's some Democrats that are getting paid by the military complex, and there's some Republicans that are getting paid by the welfare state. And so it's intertwined. And when you have these disagreements, it's the lobbyists wanting more out of their given thing. It's the Republicans wanting to say, no, we're cutting back on Medicare and Medicaid. And the lobbyists for the Republican or the Democrats are saying, no, we're going to get this out because we're going to give you problems. And it's a whole negotiating thing. What the biggest issue with this is that our country has issues. And instead of trying to solve those issues, it gets watered down by the time we actually get a solution or money going in that direction to solve that problem, because everybody kind of takes a piece of the pie. So by the end of it, no one's getting hit. Our people are not getting their help. The military budget's not being cut. The welfare budget's not being cut. And even if it's expanded, it doesn't actually go to the people that it's supposed to be helping. By the time it gets to them, it's so little, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't really help the problem. So this is kind of a problem with politics. And actually, this lobbying tactic is actually outlawed in almost every nation, every society, besides America. America, it's like openly legal and we just do it. And it's like a huge industry. Lobbying is a huge industry. It's very corrupt and it's kind of sickening, So that's kind of the background of kind of what's going on. And you hear people talk about also there's foreign nations who lobby like AIPAC. And then those foreign lobbies, they lobby for Israel, for the military complex and help there, but they also help other Jewish companies that have contracts with the government because they're Jewish. They're kind of tied together by their Jewish identity. And then those companies then donate to AIPAC or help a candidate that AIPAC wants to help out. So they all have their role in this intricate system of scratching each other's backs. And we don't get our backs scratched. And we have to look at it, watch it, and go, wow, that guy was a good politician. Wow, he did some really good work. What did he do? You mean he scratched other people's backs and then got his back scratched? But then occasionally he get us like a little extra win here and there? Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you have my vote. Really annoying. What else do we got? Charlie Kirk's memorial, political fallout. The memorial service for Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist killer earlier this month, is being held in Glendale, Arizona, and drawing high-profile speakers, including former President Trump, VP J.D. Vance, and people like Tucker Carlson. His death has stirred up conservatives about free speech, political tension, and what many see as potential campaign inventions or crackdown, as well as debates about the response from both political and media leaders. So let's talk a little bit about free speech. You hear after all this, Charlie Kirk and stuff would go down, and the memorial had already happened, and you hear Trump's what he said and what Erica said, and Erica was, forgiving the killer and different things like that, and you have these different views and different viewpoints that are on the stage, and Trump kind of goes up there and says, I don't like my enemies. I don't want them to do well. So, and it was kind of cheeky, and some people read into it more than it was, like the Democrats, of course. But it's funny to me that the same people that are saying, free speech, will then turn around and applaud Pam Bondi for trying to create hate speech laws and attacking people directly through the law for hate speech. Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled through pressures from the FCC for money to further monopolize our government. And then with me, you've got, I'm a part of the political party here locally, and they say, oh, freedom of speech. But if you don't have the exact same views as I have, we're going to oust you, cancel you, not allow you to talk, pressure you constantly to not have your people come to the meetings, pretty much not build your network of any kind because, we don't agree with you on every single thing. And so we want to cancel your freedom of speech. And then they also tell me to take down posts like on my YouTube or on my podcast and say I'm crazy for saying any of this stuff and everything else, right? So it's just interesting. The same people clamoring to want to have like dialogue and free speech, they don't want to have dialogue and free speech. They don't want to do a debate. They don't want to talk about it. And anytime you do talk about it, they get super mad and kick you out of spaces and say you're not allowed to talk about that because you're a detriment to everyone around you. Because, oh my gosh, you want to be pro-white? Oh my gosh, how could you do that? I'm sitting there telling them, hey, there's a whole community of people that are not even all white. Like Hispanics agree. And there's a lot of people that agree that, look, the white population is going down. Our birth rate is super low. Our native birth rate super low. We have an environment that's not conducive to having kids. We're being erased. We have politicians like Ilhan Omar and AOC. AOC is the leader of the Democratic Party right now. She raised the most amount of money than any other Democrat. She's saying that they won't vote for a Charlie Kirk resolution because they dehumanized Charlie so much that they say he didn't even have worth having this resolution. And they believe that we are all in a mystical fairy tale land. What they say is whitewashing. They say, AOC says that we whitewashed the Charlie Kirk situation. I mean, how do we whitewash that? He got shot in the neck on TV in front of everybody by a radical Democrat, by a radical trans person. How are we whitewashing that? But these are the things that these people do. They're blatantly saying they want to extinguish whiteness. And so all of our base, the Republican base, they're looking at our leaders and going, okay, like our population's down. We're not having kids. We're not happy. We can't afford a home. There are people are being killed publicly, like assassinated. And you don't even have the gumption to say that you're for a pro-white movement. You don't have a pro-white stance. You don't want to extinguish whiteness because you're scared that you're going to be criticized by AOC and by the Democrats, or that you're going to be criticized by your donors and you could lose money on it. And you just don't think that that's just the way to be because racism is bad and there's nothing else to discuss about it. And now, so our people see that and see you doing that and they feel let down. They feel abandoned. They feel like you don't actually care about our people. You don't actually care about America. You only care about how much money you can raise for your campaign. And they can see it clear as day. And the only ones who can't see it are you. And that's why it's really important to let you know that people like me who are going to openly say, hey, we don't hate other groups of people. Of course not. But we are pro-white. We are pro-American. For our culture, our country is a culture and is a group of people, the grandkids of our founding fathers. That is a group of people, and that's who I'm going to stand for. And you're going to watch my podcast. You're going to watch me and my political career or whatever I end up doing. I'm not saying I'm running for politics. You're going to see a lot more people get behind me in that. And even the people that are not openly behind me are going to be secretly going, yeah, I hope he does good. Because we have to have somebody fighting for us. We have Ilhan Omar, who's blatantly hating us. And you don't have the gumption to be able to even say you're pro-white or pro-European or pro the grandkids of the founding fathers? You're disgusting. You're a traitor. You're a rat. And our people are starting to see this, and you're not liking it. You're wanting to say, for free speech, but Trump's hilarious, and Pam Bondi, she's cracking down on hate speech from the Democrats because, yeah, that's what we should do. And I'm for free speech as long as it's my speech, as long as it's exactly what I believe. And if you tailor from that at all and you don't agree with me at all, well, then I'm going to cancel your speech. And I'm going to use every bit of my power that I can to cancel your speech and to get you to shut up because I believe I'm right and you're wrong. Meanwhile, I'm saying, hey, I don't think you're wrong entirely. I want to talk to you. I want to debate you. I want to go in and I want to run the operation of the Republican Party with you and say, hey, let's work together. There's a group of people that agree with me, a growing group of people, by the way. Let's work together. Let's work together, guys. But they don't want to work together. They want to do the exact same thing that AOC's doing. They want to tell you that you're racist and a disgusting person that doesn't deserve to have a platform, that doesn't deserve to talk at all, that doesn't deserve to be a part of the club, the Republican club. You don't deserve to be it because we don't agree with you 100%. That's not very free speech of you, right? That's not very free speech. Well, we're scared that the Democrat people that we know will be mad at us for talking to you. So I'm sorry. Have a backbone. Fight for your own people for once in your life. God, it's sickening. It's disgusting. They're weaklings. And I'm not going to stop doing this podcast. I'm not going to stop trying to put our viewpoints out there. We have the differences between the Republican Party right now is one, a skepticalness about Israel lobbying money in our country. We don't want a foreign country running our country, okay? That's a big deal right now to the people. I don't know if you had noticed. And then we've got another big thing, which is being pro-white, acknowledging that the white community is going down in numbers and the white culture is being pressured by every other culture coming in here at mass rates. We've got Indians building their own towns in our nation. And then they want you to not be mad about it. Because if you're mad about it, then you must be racist. And that's why I have this stash right here. Not because, look, I don't hate the blacks. I don't hate the transgenders. I don't hate the gays. You know, the Jews, whatever. I don't hate them. But I also love my own people. I want America to be American. Does that make me a bad person? And yet you're telling me that I'm a bad person because you think I'm wrong. Anyway, okay, I'm done talking about it. I'm done ranting. I got to get back onto what I'm doing here. International diplomacy, recognition of Palestine and UN alignments. As the UN General Assembly sessions approach, several countries, including UK under Starmer, France under Macron, Australia, are expected to formally recognize Palestine as a state. This is setting up a diplomatic contrast with the U.S., which under President Trump remains opposed. Financial Times says these moves come amid shifting global alignments and growing pressure in international forums around the Israel-Palestine conflict. So the Trump administration, through Anthony Blinken, who's our Secretary of State, is saying that the reason why we don't want to recognize Palestine as a state in a two-state solution, because that's what a lot of people are wanting to do, a two-state solution, including Saudi Arabia. And they're saying, other Arab people around the thing, and they're saying, well, these people are here, they should have their own state, two-state solution. Israel saying, no, we don't want a two-state solution, it doesn't work. And we pretty much, our only goal is to just pretty much kick all these people out and occupy the land and just take the land. I mean, just in a complete takeover of the land. So UK and the rest of Europe are going, yeah, we don't, that's not good, right? Like a genocide, ethnically cleansing of Gaza, like what Charlie Kirk said. Yeah, that's not good. So we're going to recognize Palestine as a state. And Trump saying, and the Trump administration is saying, well, we would do that because we want a two-state solution too. But the reason why we're not going to do it right now is because if we do, then it will make them a state, an official state, and it would be harder for the U.S. to actually give them food and supplies. And then more people would starve, actually, which is a complete, that's the official, what they're telling us to our face, like as if we're stupid. But actually, that's totally retarded. We could easily make it to where we could then give the people aid through other means of giving them aid besides through the UN and through the ways that it's going through currently now. So that's a complete lie and just a total, I mean, they're literally telling to your face that you're stupid. That's what they're doing. And I kind of looked into this a little bit more. The reason why Trump, the administration, is wanting to do this is because they want to strike a deal that includes Saudi Arabia. As you know, the Saudi Arabian government is close pals with Trump. And so their money, Trump's money line, is aligned with Saudi Arabia and Israel. And Israel even has closer ties with Saudi Arabia. So they're all going to work together. They're going to work with the Arab states in order to somehow still get Gaza, but it's going to include making a lot of money for the Trump administration, for Trump, or not even Trump himself, but the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Some would say, well, why would we do that? Let's just let Palestine be a state and then, let them figure out their own money. They're their own country, right? Well, the people with lots of money don't want to let this tragedy go without making a profit, turning a profit of any kind. So that's what you're going to see in the near times. You're going to start seeing Saudi Arabia come more into the deal, and you're going to see them strike a deal with the Arab state of Saudi Arabia. Now, during the Charlie Kirk thing, obviously we had the Senate who voted to not release the Epstein files. And we also are now, what I think is going to happen is you're going to see us attack Iran again. You're going to see us go back to war with Iran, and you're going to see other big things come up. And this is all, the Charlie Kirk thing is going to be used as a distraction. Not, I mean, you could conspiratorial say that, like, oh, maybe they did the Charlie Kirk assassination to distract us. I'm not even going to go that far. I would just say, look, the Charlie Kirk thing is being used as a distraction, and they're doing a lot of things now when the Charlie Kirk thing's going on because it's distracting all the normies. All the Republican normies are focused on Erica Trump and things like that. They're not focused on what we're doing right now in the Middle East. And what's happening right now in the Middle East? Do you know? Well, Israel has attacked like 5 other nations. Trump has said, oh my gosh, what are they doing? But we're led by Israel, so there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing he can do about it. And I think they're going to go for Iran, the big cake, the big cherry on top of the big cake. I think they're going to start going for Iran right now. And they're going to, I don't even know if they're going to use another distraction or they're just going to keep on riding on the Charlie Kirk distraction in order to get some of these things done. But while we're all focused on Charlie Kirk, just to let you know, Israel is ramping up things in Gaza and they're bombing like 5 other Arab nations. So do with that what you will. What else do I got here? I guess so that's pretty much it for the news today. I challenge you to look into some of the things with the international stuff because it's pretty scary what's going on right now. And it's pretty scary what's going on with our own country. We're so sold out. And this goes back to like why we are a materialistic people. We're a people that seek financial gain. We're a people that seek career promotion. We are a people that seek to bring people together, but there's no separating people of any kind because there's no financial backing behind that, right? And we know that the way to solve America's problems is through God and the church, but we're not going to set anything up to make it that way because there's no money in that. And so you find Republicans that are so for free speech and so for Christ, and there's for the Christian church and for the greater good of the people of America, and they love America. But their actions, their policies are not doing any of that. They're doing everything they can to sell us out quickly. And the Democrats are like doing it too, obviously, but that's like their side. They're open about it. They're open about worshiping Satan and wanting abortion. Whereas like the Republicans, we're supposed to be for America, and yet they're not. They're absolutely not. And there are many examples of that, but maybe the most notable that I see right now is the Pam Bondi's actions recently wanting to crack down on hate speech. I mean, it is only Biden was just in office when he was saying things like cracking down on hate speech, and Republicans were like up in arms about freedom of speech. And now they're turning around and doing the exact same thing 2 years later, and they think we're so dumb that we're not going to go, no, we shouldn't do that. And we love Trump so much that if we love Trump so much that, like, we'll just, like, "Meh, just go ahead and do that." No, 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 no. I mean, it's just crazy to me that they do this so blatantly right in our face, and no one does anything, and no one says anything. It's crazy. It's really crazy. How do we fix the homeless issue? We empower the church. How do we fix the massive amount of shootings that are going on in schools? We convince our younger people to go to church and to put their faith behind God and Christ. That's how we solve it. Will the Republican Party help us in doing that? And not forcing people to go to church, but convincing them to go to church? Making sure that the financial backing behind the church is, like, good, so that way they can solve problems like the homeless issue? Instead of giving all the money right now, they give all the money to colleges and they give all the money to godless institutions that believe in atheism. Like, that's not right. Do the Republican Party are they even Christian anymore? Because, like, I see a lot of Republican commentators today, like PragerU, owned by a Jewish person, Dennis Prager, that has gay people on his show. Like, half the show's gay. Like, it's a gay black guy that runs the show. So, like, are Republicans even Christian anymore? Like, yeah, we're not saying gay people are, like, we wanna kill gay people, God, no. But we are saying being gay is a sin. Like, is that okay? Are we allowed to say, like, we don't want abortion? Like, abortion's not good? Can we say that? Or is the party shifting to what the Democrats were 10 years ago in order to get more money, in order to be politically safe? Because they're a PR group is what they are. They're politically safe. They wanna encapsulate all groups, and they're not fighting for anyone. They're not fighting for you. They're not fighting for the church. They're not fighting for America. They're not fighting for the founding fathers' grandkids. I wanna fight for the founding fathers' grandkids. I wanna fight for God. I wanna fight for the church. That's who I wanna do, and I'm not as scared to say, "Yeah, I'm pro-white." I'm not scared to say, "I'm against gayness. I'm against, the sin of being gay." I'm not against gay people. I hope they come to Christ. Extend an olive branch and hope that they come to church and change their ways. Talk about how we can convince them to change their ways, of course. But I'm not scared to say it's a sin. And a lot of people are scared. It's really kind of shocking to me. Through this Charlie Kirk thing, it's like we have two groups of people, ones that are, like, so soft, and they're starting to, like, fall into the belief that Charlie Kirk was anti-homophobic and that he did say things against black people. And, like, it's shocking actually to see it and to see how weak our party is. I mean, he hadn't even been gone 2 weeks, and they're already, like, siding with the Democrats on how he was. I mean, we have to weed these people out of our party. It's like, it's funny that they're all trying to weed me out of the party, but the people and me, we need to get together and weed the weak rhinos out of our party because they're not good for our party. And they work to oust people like me who are trying to fight for us, and try to give the news based on how we believe, how the working man believes. And it's just shocking to me that our party has become what it is today. I hope we can correct this wrong. I hope that we can start building around the church. I hope we can start, we can get the Christian APAC, a Christian pack that runs America. And I hope we can openly say that too. Because right now the Republican Party is wanting me to not say that. They're not wanting me to say that we should have a Christian pack that's more powerful than APAC and a Christian network that's more powerful than the Jewish network. They're telling me to not tell you guys that. Why? Why would they do that? Why would they, after seeing our population decrease, after seeing all the things that are going wrong, after seeing America weaken in the way that it is, and seeing all the hate that's going around as far as for Republicans and for conservatives and Christians, Charlie Kirk just gets murdered, and they're gonna abandon us for what? For the Jewish money that they're getting? For what? It really just, I mean, it just kills your motivation. I mean, it really does. It really kills your motivation to know that you're trying to fight for America. You're trying to make this country better, and, like, one of your biggest enemies is actually not the rabid Democrats with blue hair, but it's actually the weak Republicans who want to, like, be more closer in line with them and don't really care that the white population is going down in any way, and they don't even want to talk about it, and they betray us. That's just saddening, right? And it's like, well, why are you against gays? Well, that's part of the reason why our population's going down is because, like, 10% of the Generation Z is, like, gay. It's like they're never gonna have kids. And then there's, like, another percentage that's, like, trans, they're never gonna have kids. There's, like, another percentage that's, like, on hardcore drugs, they're never gonna have kids. There's another percentage that's, like, taking drugs that are gonna, like, make their hormones change, they're never gonna have kids. And so these groups of people are causing our population to go down. Abortion causes our population to go down. I mean, like, 1/3 of Generation Z is missing because of abortion now. And so the number one thing that makes our country strong, more than even policy, is just having people, like, existing, right? And if we're going down in numbers, that means we're not doing our jobs. Our leaders are not doing our jobs. We're not looking out for one another. We're not identifying the problems. The problems that we have right now are to do with our population going down due to abortion, due to being gay, due to all these different things. And that's why we are talking about this from a place of hate, of hatred for these people. No, we don't hate these people. If they're American, we love them. But we also have to identify the issues we're having, and solving those issues with the way that the current Republican regime and the Democrats want to solve them is not what the people want. Go to a field of workers anywhere, a mechanic shop, electrician shop, go anywhere. Ask them, say, hey, do you think this is right? They're going to say, oh, yeah, I think because of our population being down, because of abortion and all these left leaning viewpoints and people going out of the church and becoming less Christian, I think the way to fix that is to have boatloads of Indians come to this nation and replace us. Let's do that. No, they're not going to say that. They're going to agree with me and say, no, we have to take a pro-white stance. And when I say white, do I mean like, oh, just blonde hair, blue? What? No. Like half of the Hispanic community would identify as being more white. Whiteness is not just even your race, it's also the culture of being American, having a concealed carry. These things is what makes you American. Unlike the rest of the world's not allowed to have guns. I don't know if you know. And so these are the things that make us American, and this is our culture, and we want to protect that, and we want to, not go extinct, right? And so maybe you're right. Maybe the Republicans, some of them, I could word this a bit differently. I can say, don't say pro-white, say pro-European, or I don't know, maybe European culture, whatever you could say. But the thing is that they're wanting to not just correct the speech, they're wanting to not talk about the speech at all. They're not going to want to talk about any of these problems due to abortion, being gay, or any of these problems, or that we're not going to church. They don't want to do that because they're like, the church, they use all these things like, well, actually, there's a separation of church and state. And well, actually, freedom of speech. And it's just like, man, we're dying. A third of Generation G doesn't exist. And you're worried about your Jewish donors not being mad at you? I mean, it's really sad. Tonight, we have a young Republican meeting. It's going to be at Rusty's on Ming and Ash. If you're in my area and you're listening to this, I hope you can make it. There is a big tide shift going on within the Republican Party, even here locally in Kern County. So I hope you can make it. I'll be there. And if you go, make sure to touch bases with me, say hi, appreciate it. And hopefully we can start pressuring our politicians on the Republican side to start being more pro our community, the hardworking community. I hope we can do that because there's not a lot of time left. No other culture that has a fertility rate below 1.9 ever rebounds. They all go extinct. Native Americans are going extinct. Like they're all going to go extinct. White people are on that trajectory. George Washington's grandkids, yeah, they're on that trajectory. So, if you had to stand for any one policy, it'd be like maybe not the extinction of all Americans ever, right? I mean, you don't really have to be that smart to like put that together. You don't really have to be that smart to like understand that. That's like the biggest thing we should fight against. Anyway, this is the Paint the Town Red podcast. My name is Chance Bowen, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I won't see you, but you might see me. Have a good one.